Day 3. Hi guys. Day 3. Oof. Oh, small steps, baby steps. Welcome guys. I just want you guys to know that I am so happy that you're here. I'm taking a bunch of leaps in different directions, trying to stretch myself a bit. Now doing live. I'm vibe coding again. This is day 3, and I'm working just building in public and pulling out all of these ideas and just iterating on them. As you can see, I have some ambitious goals that's grounding me. So if you look at the title, yeah, let's get right into it, right? So we're gonna just keep building apps until something sticks, and even when something sticks, we'll try to mature it, but continue working on new ideas, constantly moving forward, right? Building something better and better. So right now, the last thing we're working on is a waitlist app. And the goal with that is to make that the central hub where people can sign up for different applications that I will be bringing out, and I would like them to test it out and kind of explore. And this is just my journey building in public, right? This is a video journal of all the steps that I'm taking, all of the ideas that I'm going to be using agentic coding assistance to build rapidly. Rapid prototyping, rapid deployments, and we just test things out, right? And so I don't know if anybody was able to watch day 1, day 2, but let's get right into it. This is day 3. We've got to stay hyped. We've got to stay disciplined. Let's keep going. And if you're new, if you're joining, if you're seeing this, welcome. My name is Obi, and we're gonna get right into it. Okay, so let me share my screen, let you know where we left off. Right, so we were doing a couple of things. Right, we wanted to make sure that we're able to actually have some kind of notification, verification when people come in to sign up for a particular application, right? So it looks like things didn't quite get deployed, so it's still on my local environment. And I was a little ambitious in day 2, and I was working with 2 agents at the same time, trying to understand if they can kind of work together and not overwrite each other's stuff. Usually I code with just 1 agent, but trying to build towards having a multi-agent coding orchestrator, and we'll get there someday. Small steps. So what doesn't exist? Launch day announcement. It's not coded at all. There's no announcement method. There's no scan for listing verified users, right? We need to be able to schedule and trigger with something like EventBridge, right? And we need some kind of email service. We need to have a repository full of verified users, right? And some integration tests, some unit tests. And so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and say, sounds good. So this is more on the deploying. Yeah, so let me say first deploy before next. Okay. Actually, let's just let it work. Let's let it do its thing. All right, so we're gonna come over here now. We're gonna see that there's a couple of things. So I just asked for an honest picture of where we are. So I wanted to be able to make sure that new apps are being added correctly, right? And there's some things that aren't quite linked yet. Some things seem to be focused, not focused, but seem to be stuck in local storage, and we want to We want to make sure that actions from an admin perspective aren't just stuck in our browser, but actually having global impacts, right? Being persisted past our browser. So we want to test the app for launch and make sure there's some kind of countdown, right? So we want to make sure all this stuff is deployed. And of course, there's an admin page, and we want to make sure that we are able to add new apps, for example, just general CRUD operations on this waitlist page, right? Receive the advised. There's another agent working on the app. Intending. It's mine. To see. It's your stuff. Okay, so we're gonna come back here. Yeah, and it looks like yesterday it looks like it has to think more before, like, once it's aware that there's another agent working. Once it's aware that there's another agent working, it tends to take its time. Right? I think like yesterday it took about 3 minutes before it took an action. Both of them, like 3 minutes of absolute just thinking, working through tokens. It's very interesting. All right, so coming back here now, I wanted it to be cost effective. Of course, we don't want unnecessary resource creations. We want to make sure that while we're paying attention to security and scalability, we also want to be mindful of costs, right? We want to make sure that we're not just buying resources that we don't need, just the next best thing, right? When there's something that cheaper that will do the same job. So, okay, so one of the things that I want from this waitlist is this is the simplest part. Probably shouldn't take 3 days, but I am going less than an hour per day, right? And my goal with all of these is to have that wait list and be able to add new apps, remove apps, right? Remove their links entirely. Just have people not have to go one place to find all of these. And namely, they can also sign up in one place, right? So no need to have like 100 different sign up pages. So we want to be as we want to make the waitlist as reusable as possible. Yeah. Okie dokie. Yeah. So I hope everyone I hope everyone is doing well. If you're seeing this video at any point, please let me know what your vibe coding experience is like, your agentic coding. If you are an expert in it, have you moved towards more spec-driven development, as in, really detailing out the whole vision, contract before coding, or are you more of an iterative agentic engineer or vibe coder, where you just are having a conversation, you've got a plan, and you just go with the flow? In this case, we're going with the flow and trying to also have some good structure along the way. Alrighty. It's like the other which one is this? So this one's still running, right? Lots of different things around tests that needs to be done. this agent, but this one looks like it's complete. So it added a few things. It added a repository, an email service, definitely updated some infrastructure. Yeah. Looks like we have an ability to do a manual invocation, no event bridge needed. And this is to deploy, right? CD Terraform, apply. I'm going to deploy these things together and we're going to see how things go. And we can begin to test. Yeah, so one of the things that I'm really loving about agentic coding, especially for these kind of personal projects, right, is that we have the opportunity to be token maximalists, right? Some people say code is cheap, but it depends on who is using it. If you're an enterprise developer, code is cheap as long as you have the right structures in place. Otherwise, you're creating slop, and slop is tech debt, and tech debt is expensive. Right? If you have to go back and you have to go through spaghetti code, then yeah, that's a problem. But I don't know. These models continue to get smarter and smarter every day. So maybe there will continue to be better optimizations that allow them to have better context across code base and be able to really have better structure for. I mean, I'm sure they'll be able to do it better than humans eventually, right? And our goal, our place would be more to be architects, saying, here's the house, fill it, right? Here's the idea, create it. Right? So it becomes a tool, the way the calculator became a tool. And so I'm hoping, though, that today we can start on the first app. I actually had this idea just as soon as the live stream started, and I took some time to write it down. Right as the live stream started, actually. Yeah, so I'm going to try that. Doesn't have to be, maybe it will be a web app, but it'll be nice if it could be a web app / mobile development, and just see how we can begin to test the ideas. Maybe web makes sense, and then I can keep that in mind for future iterations. It would be nice to just get it out there first, right? And then we can make it into a mobile application. Okay, it looks like we're good here. Like everything is happening. We have a way to deploy. We have a way to test. Yeah, so you can just go ahead and request this to deploy. Oof. God, these LLMs know better spelling. Right. So I think there's definitely a lot of places where I will need to fill in the gaps, right? I can just come up with ideas and I just come up with ideas constantly, but really it's all about selling and execution, right? And some people really know how to do that context switching. Oftentimes, you need to be able to have someone else with that. But luckily, this is for fun for now. So we're not going to worry about anything that we don't have to worry about until we do. I have a big surprise coming up in the future for me, and big announcements coming up. Hoping you guys can stick around for that. This is a new channel, right? Pretty new. And honestly, I'm just grateful to be doing this, just, you know, trying new things, right? Being intentional, right? In some of my previous videos, I was always talking about identity and being adaptable, right? And this is just one of those places where you just have to, you know, take chances, grow in the direction you want to grow. Be intentional about your journey, own it, right? If you want to move in a certain direction, move in that direction. If you don't want to move in a certain direction and you have really good reasons for it, don't move in that direction, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so what are we doing now? We're doing some SES identity tests with some email addresses. Now let's come over here. Let's start working on this app. Which verifier should be a sender for the waitlist? Let's do this. Okay. All right. So what did we do here before? Doing a couple of things. So the agents did a couple of things, right? We did a bunch of tests. And I remember yesterday I was talking about how important it is for us to always include tests in everything agentic, right? With all this vibe coding, if you have really good tests and you prioritize tests, it at least adds some type of guardrail for your agent. Your agent's already pretty good, right? And they will only continue to get better. But you can avoid regressions this way. So okay. All right, so let's just take a little break while I go ahead and verify something from my email. Yep, Amazon Web Services, doing an email verification for SES. Oh, shoot. Nah, that's fine. Okay. I think that's okay. So basically what we're doing is we want, when someone signs up, to be able to have them verify their email, right? And I think we might have to clean that up a bit. This part has some information that I probably don't want to show yet. So let me just let this cook for a bit. In the meantime, in the project directory, we're at 20 minutes mark. In the project directory, let's create a new directory called good requests. There we'll create a new app. Probably first declare. Let's clear this out first. We're going to create a new application while we're deploying. So we're deploying the first app. We're going to start working on the new app. Let's create a new directory, new folder. One will be a new application. Will be a new application. Give me a second, guys. I'll be right back. We'll put the screen back up shortly. Let's create a new folder called request. This one will be a new application. Will be start. That will start. Is it better to just do this as a mobile application? That's the part that I'm trying to think carefully through. I think a web app is probably better to start with for a prototype, and then we go from there to a mobile version, mobile app version. So start off with a web component, a web application. And if there's traction, we'll use the AWS. We use the AWS services. Right now, it looks like what we're doing is deploying. We're deploying for the waitlist application. I want to move as fast as I can with this waitlist, right? Once again, this is what the waitlist looks like. Let me see if I have this open. Okay, it's on this screen. All right, let's bring that here. Bring that over here. So this is what the waitlist looks like. Once we finish deploying, once Terraform does its things, its gears are turning in the background, we'll be able to refresh this and change the page, right? And I'm hoping to see a detail page, a potential countdown page. If not, we'll update that. Right, I like this title though. I didn't even ask it for this, but this is pretty good. We can always update this. Join the waitlist for any app you're interested in. No spam, just one email when it's ready. Like that. So that's where we are right now. I think I heard the news today that I think someone mentioned that it wasn't Andre. It was the guy who created was it OpenClaw, who is now working for OpenAI or something like that. I think he spent like 1 million tokens in a single month. I've imagined this fictional world where we're just like everything is measured in tokens, right? Like we can talk about this a bit more in the future, but just imagine like you want to start a business, you invest in tokens, you want some Tesla bot or some of it or its equivalent to go get your coffee, right? And you just spend tokens and it just does it for you, right? The input, the output is it bringing it back or something, right? So that'll be a very interesting fictional story. Okay, so we're able to send a launch announcement with AWS. Okay, so let's actually share this screen. Okay, so there's been some deployments that happened that were successful, right? We created a few operations with the waitlist Lambda. We added some DynamoDB GSI queries. We have the SES policy for sending the email, right? We have get verify. So we created a email verification route. We have the waitlist Lambda. We have the CloudFront TLS. We removed WAF for now because that's $5 a month. And we're trying to be as lean as possible, right? To start, right? The day will come where this is going to be worth, hopefully, right? Be valued more, and some of these apps can cover the costs of that. But for now, we're just going to keep it simple. You might want to come back to that. So I'm going to note that. I'm going to note that waitlist WAF ACL removed for now. So we've got to come back to that. And of course, yeah, we're able to send and launch an announcement when ready. Okay. I probably don't want to have my sticky notes out. That would be bizarre to have. Okay, but I still need to be able to copy these. So, all right, let's see. Drive. Hope you guys are staying with me. Don't go away now too soon. All right, so I have so many app ideas. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see how things go over time. I'm gonna look into my drive. Jeez, I am so cheap. I don't even have. Let me not say cheap. Frugal. I don't even have Word doc. I've got to use Google Docs. Trying to save some money, guys. Trying to save some money. Okay, let's just go ahead and put this here. We'll be back for it later. Okay, so what are we going to do now? We are going to, we're going to copy, let's get this again. So we're going to copy this. We're going to get a new terminal, and we're going to go ahead and run this. I think that's all we need, right? Did I input more than I needed to? See, to schedule it automatically for a specific date and time. Why do I need to do this myself? Let's just ask it to do it. So what is it planning to do it for? Let's say, go ahead and invoke and schedule for today in about 5 minutes. Maybe that's too close. Let's say 10 minutes. Then we'll verify. Okay. So once again, this is the starting app. Be able to join the waitlist, put your name, email, all that good stuff. Let's see if I refresh. Does it start at the top? That's interesting. Yeah, this looks like a very generic, AI vibe coded website. No proper SVGs. I don't think that's an SVG, right? That's just, yeah, that's just an emoji. That's so funny. Yep. Okay. All right. So what's the next app? Assuming all of this works out, right? Actually able to test this out. We may start to do this asynchronously. The next app is something called Good Quest. I'm sure there are things like this out there already, but the purpose of Good Quest is to help humanity, right? So people will log in, sign up, log in. They can choose between a few things they can do, all with the theme of helping the environment, helping the earth, right? So a simple workflow looks like this. You select one of the options, you are assigned a task, you perform that task, take a picture, and then you upload that picture, and say, hey, here's what I did. And you get a streak, you get points. And you're able to contribute to the community. So it's like a social media application. It's not supposed to be completely social media. It's supposed to be more individualistic, right? But it's really so doing things like planting, picking up trash, right? Stuff like that. Just like doing good things that help the earth, things that help the environment, and creating a community around that. So, and that's supposed to be a very simple app, nothing too complicated. So that deployment is happening right now. So let me switch to this screen now. So since I'm now working on this other app in tandem, right? So the waitlist app is going to continue while I finish with this. So it wants to know what exactly we're doing. Basically what I'm doing is taking all the things that I thought of and put it into ChatGPT to get a very clear description of what exactly this agent is going to help me do. So I have Claude and I have ChatGPT. ChatGPT is really more for the thinking and planning. Claude is more for I've got everything I need fleshed out, right? And then we're just going to go right into it. So what does Good Quest do? Let's see. We're still it is social community platform. Is it a productivity task tool? Is it a marketplace or commerce? I'm going to say it's a social community platform. Let me make sure that I'm making the right thing. Yep. Which front-end framework do you want to use? Interesting. All right, so we'll go with Next.js because I don't want to think about this, right? So this is not something that I want to focus on. What AWS services are you thinking? Select all that apply. That's a good question. So what AWS services? This is the part where I've got to think, right? And they've got to figure things out. DynamoDB is probably a good one, though. I'm going to stick with that for now. Let's see if we can start with this. Okay. So what is the app? Good Quest. Here's what ChatGPT has interpreted it as for me, right? ChatGPT says, I'm going to read this out loud to you guys. So it says that the app is a daily real-world impact agent that gives users simple missions to make the world better, such as cleaning up litter, planting seeds, recycling, donating items, or helping someone nearby. Users can complete tasks, upload proof, earn streaks and impact points, and see their progress over time. A social layer lets people view others' efforts alongside their own, like completed tasks, celebrate impact posts, follow local progress, and participate in friendly team or city-based challenges, turning small individual actions into a visible community movement. What do I want this to be? Do I want to structure? How do you want to structure the project? Is it a monorepo or separated folders? Yeah, monorepo sounds good, right? So this is good quest. You can have the apps. You can have the web. Let's do that. Infrastructure as code tools. Okay, I'm used to Terraform, so this is going to be very interesting. Using the AWS CDK. It's saying it's recommended, so maybe we'll just stick with that for now. Stick with that for now. Commit answers is an exec summary. Powerful. Okay, so I've posted that information there, right? So as you can see, it's creating this directory structure. I think if you're like, if you love the dopamine hits, like, geez, this is like a, if you're one of those people, I think I'm one of those people, question time, right? If you're one of those people who are interested in the novel, like you get to do something new and that just spikes your dopamine, agentic or vibe coding specifically is a high that will scratch that itch, I would say. And there's a way, like there's something about just seeing code just coming up on the screen. Remember how they used to show the hacking montage, right? Where the user is like typing away and there's all of these lines of codes like skipping up and down. Well, it's sort of like that, except you're not doing anything, right? Or at least you're doing stuff. It's mostly in your brain. You're just thinking about what to do next because you're no longer implementing. Somebody said that once upon a time we did like 30% thinking and writing our ideas down, right? And then the other 70% was just saying, okay, now I gotta implement this. So you have some time to relax your thinking and just focus on using a different muscle, which is coding. But now that you have this tool that lets you go fast, you've got to use not 30% thinking, right? You're constantly thinking, right? So there's no longer that break, and sometimes it can be cognitively exhausting, even though you feel like you haven't done the work. You've been mostly in here, but you feel drained. It's pretty impressive. It's pretty incredible. And I'll touch on this a bit more in the future, but I think it's probably been mentioned. I just don't remember where I heard it, but the whole idea of the previous paradigm of 10x engineers, that is gone, right? That does not, at least in an enterprise environment where people are using agents to code, that doesn't exist anymore. A 10x engineer in the past, or the 10x engineer today, right, who's using AI, right, that engineer is now really a 10 cubed engineer, because their ability to spin off different parallel directions, parallel implementations, is really only limited by their own context window. So if they can keep track of 5 agents, 20 agents running in parallel on several different parts of a single monorepo or multiple different applications, and they're able to ship fast that way, and they're able to keep context and keep the correct guardrails, then they're not working linearly anymore. Their focus is now more exponential. Okay, so let's look back at our code. So yeah, so now we're creating our first real app. The interesting part would be adding this app to our waitlist once it's mature or once it's in a phase that's deployed, right? And then here we go. So we have an immediate invocation. Oh shoot, okay, looks like I missed that one. All right, let me see if I can refresh this page first of all. Okay. All right, I'm gonna sign up for these guys. Ooh, I'm seeing method not allowed. Maybe. Maybe let me quickly investigate this. I'm gonna check the console, join waitlist, the blah. Okay, yeah. So this is the error that I'm seeing. I try to join the waitlist unless I already exist in the database. Might be because I already exist. So we need the user to be able to see that they're logged in that way. That way they can know what they're waitlisted for. Okay, so okay, it looks like we are getting our API gateway routes tested for that 4 or 5 issue. But this says method not allowed, right? So that might be something entirely different. Yeah, that's the interesting endpoint. Okay. We're still creating directories for GoodQuest. Our first test web app. It's going to be a small one, but we're going to prototype rapidly and just get ideas going. So we'll be able to prototype rapidly. I'm guessing some of these engineers use like YOLO mode because some of them, they don't even like, they're not even being prompted. Some of them are using voice. Whereas I have to continue to press enter. Commit message. I'm probably gonna have to create a project for this one. With this screen, I'm trying to debug the Lambda issue that we were having in production. And with this one, I am working on the new scaffolding for our new small project, our first big project. Oof. So this is day three. Gotta be excited. I should be moving. I forget his name. The person who does bridge mine. I like that he stays in motion. I should probably do that because I work, work and I sit most of the day. So this will be taking its toll if I don't take some time to be moving about. So I might get one of those and just be walking. But I don't have a standing desk. No excuse. Ooh. Okay, so we're able to deploy. We have a monorepo with the app, the services, the packages that are shared, and the infrastructure. Okay, I'm liking this already. This is pretty good. The only thing I need to do now is to run the project. Let's see, CD into the correct drive. Go to projects. Go to good quest, and then what did it say? CD apps. I'm gonna bring this over here so you see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna go CD into apps/web. And then from there, I'm going to do run, what is it, npm run dev. See, it doesn't remember that context, but then again, that's my fault. So before we do any kind of install, let me go ahead and ask it. Now assume I'm using pnpm for all new projects. This as a rule at the projects level, projects directory for all this directory. Yeah, see, and that's the thing about vibe coding, right? You might not be close enough to the code to know this. Like I intentionally don't want my package manager to remain npm. That's that's a choice that I'm making, right? That's a choice that I'm making, and I need each project to remain a pnpm project. Okay. I'm gonna dismiss this. I'm doing this live. Okay. All right, I guess all I need to do is do a pnpm run dev, right? Let's see if that works. Dev. You can even see what this guy's up to. The context switching. Okay, yeah, so doing some updates here. We had some Lambda issues, and we're just requesting a fix to understand that 400 issue. So this is just trying to, it's possible that this was already a verified account that's already waitlisted, but we need to be able to handle that. So So the root cause was the request context includes the stage prefix prod for name stages, so prod with it's never matched. Okay. On your other question, let users see what apps they're waitlist for. The cleanest lightweight approach would be a my waitlist page that takes the user's email queries that the verified signups and shows the list. No passwords needed. They enter their email and get a magic link, or we just show it from a token stored in local storage after sign. It's more secure but adds friction. Local storage token system only works on the same browser. Worth a quick conversation before building. What's your preference? That's a very good question. Give them a magic link. Yeah, let's keep it simple and do local storage. Yeah, we'll need a password. So we do a Google login as well. Possible. So including that. It's a lot for that waitlist app, but I think a good foundation. So we're not everywhere. At least that's the thinking, right? To centralize all the apps in one place where if someone wanted to know where things are, they can go there, and then from there they're able to link to other, like see what, first of all, what's in the portfolio of things I'm building, right? And be able to test. Which approach do you want? Local storage only, simple, full auth password plus Google. Real account users can log in from any device, requires cognito, Google auth, some more build time and moving parts. Email magic link. Middle ground users enters email, gets a one-time login link. Yeah, I want to save for, I think, that's a good question. The middle ground is the user can enter their email, they get a one-time login link, no password needed, similar in Google, auth, but still needs a backend auth. I would go with, this might seem like a lot. Let's switch over here. I think we're looking at some of the information about PNPM in this new monorepo and how we're going to be able to run it rapidly. Okay, so what are we doing here? Okay, cleaning up some NPM artifacts, it looks like, right? Node modules. Yeah, since we're moving towards PNPM. If I didn't mention it already, it was on the screen earlier, if you saw it. My problem with this was I clearly had the intention of having PNPM. And I don't know if I mentioned it in the previous live stream. I doubt I'll have time to check, but the idea being that I wanted, after going from the waitlist to future applications that use Node, that we use PNPM as a package manager. So I have to put that as I requested that Claude basically keep track of that at the project level for future applications. So, and there are obvious benefits to using PNPM. And yeah, so wow, we are at the 55 minutes mark. Target usually is to do this for about an hour or less. It looks like we might go over today. Let me just do a quick time check. It is almost time. Hope everyone is doing good. I am starting my building in public agentic programming vibe coding journey and going from 0 to 100K MRR. It starts pretty simple. Of course, I'll learn things along the way. Not being funded in any way. So this is completely just for fun and just to see where things take us, right? Building in public. Since code is so cheap these days, you know, you can build anything. You can, the barrier to entry has been so lowered that no one has an excuse anymore. There's no, I need an engineer to build this for me. You have a prototype and you just want investors, you can absolutely build it. I encourage everyone to get a chance to just build something very simple. And I definitely query about things that normally don't just vibe code without really taking some principles to heart, right? Security, right? How to really interrogate your agent as they're developing and saying, hey, this code that we just developed, if people sign up, will their credentials be secure? And these are things that you will see in like the issue that came up with the T app, I believe. That's not a good user experience, right? And it's all adding to this AI negativity that's out there. But yeah, like the days are coming where you will have one engineer with one or a couple portfolio of billion-dollar companies, you know, with just massive users, and that's exciting and terrifying. Right? Talk about inequality. If someone knows how to use these things super fast and just keep building, and they are meeting a need, then according to the laws of capitalism, right, that person will be rewarded for that level of ingenuity and delegation, right? It's just so weird that delegation gets the most value, right? So it's not necessarily implementation. And this is even further evidence, right? So managing agents, because you get to delegate and offload, you get value for being able to use this to figure out how to offload those implementation. So yeah, we're coming to the end of all of this. Let's see what the locals looks like. This application. Let's go over here. I'm looking at the screen. All right, so it's saying you can open it at localhost. You need to do the npm dev, and of course, ooh, something happened. So interesting. It says another service is running. Okay, so maybe you can just open this up. Okay, so here's the bare bones good quest. So we've got missions. Yeah, it's not ready yet, but oof. Yeah. There's some work to be done here. I don't know why we're using Turbo Pack. I guess it's because of Next.js. That's fine. But you got a glimpse of what's coming up, and that's just going to be one of our first small apps. Always smart to start with start with a web app first to prove the concept, right? See if there are any issues, anything that's like really good signal, right? And then honing on that, and then from there, make it into an app, right? Okay, guys, I think I'm gonna stop here. thank you for joining me on this journey. This is day 3. I don't know how long I'm going to be doing this for. So this is our other agent, and this agent is working on the waitlist app, and it's trying to figure out some of the validation and verification portions of this, especially with the login requirement that I just asked it for, because I'm like, yeah, we need. So all of this wasn't like set in stone, right? So this is just things that we're iterating as we're going. Once in a while, I've got to ask it and interrogate it about code cleanliness, and I'll just like quickly inspect the code, but I don't want to micromanage agent like it's a person, right? So yeah, that is about it. Thank you guys. My name is Obi, right? Building in public, going from 0 to 100, 100K MRR. That's the goal, and we'll see where we go, right? Sky is the limit. And along the way, we'll just be thinking about the process, thinking about what it takes to be a founder, to iterate rapidly, just build, just keep building, right? Velocity is everything, whether you're talking about money, whether you're talking about talent, identity, right? Velocity is the secret, because the people who move fast are able to cover a lot of surface area, whether internally or externally. Same principles apply, right? So thank you guys so much. Remember to like, subscribe, follow, because I will just be continuing. So feel free to join at any point. Feel free to leave at any point. But your support is super welcome, and I appreciate you. Take care, guys.